It is the first warm Saturday in May. You are standing in your backyard next to a brand new raised garden bed, the lumber still smelling like the sawmill, with $40 of bagged soil stacked on the patio, and a tray of little tomato and pepper starts waiting on the porch steps. You can already taste the salsa. But by the 4th of July, half of those plants are stunted, the lettuce is bolted, the soil is pulling away from the boards like a stale cake, and you are back at the grocery store buying the same tomatoes you meant to grow. I hear this story every single week, and it is almost never a plant problem. It is 10 small decisions, most of them made in that first weekend, before a single seed ever touches the soil. Today, I'm going to walk you through all 10 beginner raised bed mistakes, what each one quietly costs you, and the cheap fix for every single one. And stay with me all the way to mistake number 10, because that cracked, rotting corner in the thumbnail, the one that turns a 15-year garden bed into a 3-year garden bed, is not caused by rain. It is one specific thing the soil itself does to that wood, day and night, and stopping it costs about $6. I'm Jake, though most folks know me as Backyard Buddy. 3 years ago, I was the guy who killed houseplants, right up until a bunch of green onion ends I tossed at the trash can missed, landed in a glass of water on the counter, and sprouted. Since then, I have regrown hundreds of plants from kitchen scraps on my apartment windowsills and balcony, and my grocery bill is down by nearly a third. My neighbor Gloria, a retired school teacher 2 floors up, has been growing food in buckets and coffee cans on her balcony for 20 years, and she taught me half of what I know. Now, you might be wondering what a guy on an apartment balcony knows about raised beds. Fair question. A raised bed is a container. It is my 5-gallon bucket stretched out to 8 feet, and the rules are identical. Drainage, soil, spacing, and water behave the same way in a cedar bed as they do in a bucket of tomatoes on Gloria's balcony rail. I made every mistake on this list in miniature first, where it cost me 1 plant instead of 1 whole season, and a lost season is the real price tag here. A 4-foot by 8-foot bed runs anywhere from $150 to $300 by the time you buy the lumber, the screws, and enough soil to fill it. That is $150 to $300 sitting out in the weather. Get that first weekend wrong, and you do not just lose a few plants, you lose the season because half of these mistakes cannot be undone once the bed is full of soil. And no bottle of fertilizer from the garden center will rescue you, because every one of these is a decision made before a single plant ever arrives. I will come back to that rotting corner and the $6 fix near the end, I promise. Because once you hear what is actually chewing through those boards, you will never look at a garden bed the same way. First, though, I want to tell you where all 10 of these fixes come from. Every fix in this video comes out of the same little book I put together, the 30-Day Kitchen Scrap Garden Protocol. 0 waste, 0 experience, free food. That is the whole promise on the cover. It is 172 pages, written for absolute beginners, and it covers 31 different crops you can regrow from the scraps your kitchen already throws away, each with its own plain instructions. There is a $10 starter kit gathered mostly from things you already own, a 30-day plan that takes you from the first glass of water to your first harvests, and troubleshooting for when a scrap sulks. And it pairs beautifully with a raised bed, because the cheapest way to fill a brand new bed is not a $40 flat of seedlings. It is the celery ends, the green onion roots, and the sprouting potatoes you are about to throw away. $17 one time, marked down from $47, against a grocery bill that drops every week after. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you used to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, coffee in hand, let's get into it, because mistake number 1 gets decided before you even leave the lumber aisle. Mistake number 1, Building the bed too wide. This one happens right at the lumber rack. The boards come in 8-foot lengths, and a big 6-foot wide bed looks generous and impressive on the sketch you made at the kitchen table. But your arm has a fixed length. From the edge of a bed, you can comfortably reach about 2 feet in, which means a bed you can walk all the way around should never be wider than 4 feet. 4 feet, no more. If the bed sits against a fence or the side of the house, cut that in half, because you can only reach from one side. 2 feet wide is the limit there. And it matters more than it sounds, because the day you cannot reach the middle is the day you step into the bed. Healthy garden soil is roughly a quarter empty space, little air pockets that roots breathe through and water drains through. One footprint squeezes those pockets shut like wringing out a sponge, and compacted soil is the slowest mistake on this whole list to undo. Make the bed as long as you like. 8 feet, 12 feet, run it the whole length of the fence if the sun is right. Length costs you nothing. Width is the measurement that decides whether you garden from the path or from inside the bed. So write it on the shopping list before you go. 4 feet wide with access from both sides, 2 feet wide against a wall. Your knees and your soil will both thank you. Mistake number 2. Picking the spot before watching the sun. Folks choose the bed's location for every reason except the one that matters. Close to the patio, tucked in the back corner, lined up neat with the fence line. But vegetables run on sunlight, and the big producers, tomatoes, peppers, squash, and beans, need 6 to 8 hours of direct sun a day. 6 to 8 hours. Lettuce and leafy greens will forgive you with 4 or 5. A tomato will not. So before you drive a single screw, spend one Saturday watching your own yard. Step outside at 9 in the morning and notice where the shadows from the house and the trees fall. Check again at noon. Check again at 3 in the afternoon. Check one more time around 5. Take your time with this. There is no rush, and a pencil and a piece of paper is all the equipment you need. Remember, too, that the sunny spot in April can turn shady in July once the maple tree leaves out. So favor open ground. 2 more small things while you are standing out there. Morning sun is gentler than the blast of late afternoon, so a spot with good eastern light is a gift. And measure the walk from the bed to your water spigot, because a bed that sits 100 feet from the hose gets watered faithfully in May and quietly abandoned by August. I have watched it happen to better gardeners than me. Put the bed where the sun lives and the hose reaches, and half of your future problems disappear before they start. Mistake number 3, filling it with the wrong soil. This is where the budget panic sets in, because a 4-foot by 8-foot bed that stands 12 inches deep swallows about a cubic yard of soil. So beginners do one of 2 things. They shovel in plain dirt from the yard, or they buy the cheapest bagged topsoil on the pallet and use nothing else. Both fail the same way. Yard dirt, especially clay, settles into something close to a brick patio by July, and straight bagged topsoil packs down dense and heavy, sheds water instead of drinking it, and starves the roots of air. What a raised bed wants is a mix. About half of it good topsoil, about a third of it compost, and the rest something light and airy, like perlite or coarse pine bark, to keep the whole bed fluffy. Half topsoil, a third compost, the rest air. That blend holds moisture without turning to soup, and it feeds your plants all season long without a single bottle from the fertilizer aisle. And if the price of filling that whole box makes you sit down, use the old-timer trick for deep beds. Fill the bottom third with sticks, small logs, and last fall's leaves, then put your good soil mix on top of them. The buried wood soaks up water like a sponge, slowly feeds the bed as it breaks down, and knocks $40 or $50 off the fill. That is $40 or $50 saved by gathering what your yard was going to throw away anyway. That's not garbage, that's groceries. Mistake number 4, sealing the bottom with plastic. I understand the thinking here. You look at the grass under your new bed. You picture weeds pushing up through all that nice soil, and a sheet of plastic across the bottom feels like insurance. What you have actually built is a bathtub. Water comes in from the top every time it rains, and with plastic underneath, it has nowhere to leave. The bottom half of the bed turns sour and swampy, roots sit in standing water, and roots that cannot breathe will rot. I learned this lesson in a window box with no drainage holes, and it only took 3 weeks to kill everything in it. Leave the bottom of the bed open to the ground underneath, open. Nothing down there but the earth itself. Worms will travel up into your good soil, water will drain down and away, and deep roots will reach further than the bed itself. For the weeds, use plain brown cardboard instead. Strip off any tape and shipping labels. Lay the flattened boxes across the grass, overlapping the edges right before you fill the bed. The cardboard smothers the grass and weeds underneath in about 6 to 8 weeks, and then it simply rots away into worm food. 6 to 8 weeks, and the problem solves itself for free. And hold on to that thought about plastic, because plastic does have exactly one honest job in a raised bed. It is the $6 fix I promised you at the start, and it is waiting at mistake number 10. Mistake number 5. Planting like the bed is twice its size. This is the hardest one to obey, and I say that with love, because I still feel the pull every spring. A tray of little seedlings looks so small and lonely in a fresh bed. The tag says, to plant tomatoes 24 inches apart. Your eyes tell you that looks ridiculous, and so you tuck them in at 10. By late June, the bed is one solid green wall. The plants shade each other, the air stops moving between the leaves, mildew settles onto the squash, and everything produces less food while looking twice as busy. The tag is not a suggestion. If it says 24 inches, it means 24 inches, measured with a ruler, not with hope. That empty-looking spacing in May is exactly the room a full-grown plant fills in July, and the arithmetic surprises everybody. One zucchini plant with proper room will outproduce 3 zucchini plants fighting over the same square of soil. Fewer plants, more food. So give yourself permission to plant less than feels right. And if you started too many seedlings, pot up the extras and hand them to a neighbor. A spare tomato plant on a doorstep has started more friendships than you would ever guess, and it is a far better fate for a seedling than being crowded to death. Mistake number 6. Letting the bullies in. Take another look at that thumbnail, because those pretty rows of mint and strawberries growing shoulder to shoulder with everything else are a slow-motion problem. Some plants simply do not share. Mint is the famous one. It spreads by runners under the soil, and one innocent mint, start in April, will own the entire bed by September, strangling everything it meets along the way. Strawberries send out runners too, and oregano gets pushy after a few seasons. The fix is not to skip these plants. Mint is wonderful, and fresh strawberries are half the reason anybody gardens. The fix is separate housing. Mint goes in its own pot, always, with no exceptions. Gloria keeps hers in an old coffee can on the balcony rail, and it has stayed politely inside that can for 20 years. Gloria taught me this one. Strawberries get their own bed, or their own corner with an edge they cannot sneak past, and you snip off the runners you do not want. One pot, one plant. The problem never starts. It is a 2-minute decision on planting day that saves you an entire angry Saturday next summer digging mint roots out of your tomatoes. And I promise you will not get them all. Nobody ever has. Mistake number 7. Watering a little bit every day. This is the mistake I personally paid the most tuition on, so hear me out. A raised bed drains better than ground soil, which is a blessing. But it also dries out faster, sometimes twice as fast in the heat of summer. So the instinct is to stand there every evening with the garden hose and give everything a friendly sprinkle. That friendly sprinkle only wets the top inch of soil. The roots learn where the water lives, so they stay shallow, right up near the surface, which is the first layer to bake dry on a hot afternoon. You end up with delicate plants that wilt the moment you miss a single day. Water deep and water less often. Soak the bed slowly until the moisture reaches a good 6 inches down, and then leave it alone for 2 or 3 days. 6 inches deep, 2 or 3 days apart. Deep water teaches roots to dive, and deep roots ride out a heat wave without any drama. And when you are not sure whether it is time, do not guess. Push your finger into the soil down to the second knuckle. If it feels damp down there, wait a day. If it comes up dry, water deeply that morning. Morning is best, because leaves that go into the night wet are an open invitation to mildew. That one finger test replaces every moisture gadget the garden center will ever try to sell you, and it costs exactly nothing. Mistake number 8. Leaving the soil bare. A freshly filled bed with clean, dark soil showing between the plants looks tidy, like a page out of a seed catalog. And the summer sun looks at all that exposed soil like an open kettle. Bare soil loses its water to the sky all day long. It bakes into a crust that sheds rain instead of soaking it in, and every weed seed that floats past finds a welcome mat. The fix costs almost nothing. 2 inches of mulch over every bit of bare soil. 2 inches spread even. Straw works. Shredded fall leaves work beautifully. Untreated grass clippings work too, laid on in thin layers so they do not mat down. Tuck the mulch in close around your plants, but keep it about an inch away from the actual stems so they can breathe. Under that blanket, the soil stays cool and damp between waterings. Most weeds give up before they start, and the worms work the surface for you all summer long. You will feel the difference in the watering can before the first month is out. It is the cheapest hour of work in this whole video. And stay close now, because there are 2 mistakes left, and the last one is the corner I have been promising you since the very first minute. Mistake number 9, treating the soil like a one-time purchase. Sometime next spring, you are going to walk out to this bed and find the soil sitting 2, maybe 4 inches lower than where you filled it, and your stomach is going to drop. Did the bed leak? Did something go wrong? No. This is normal, and I want you to expect it. The compost in your mix is being eaten by your plants and by the living things in the soil, and as it breaks down, the level settles. 2 to 4 inches in the first year is right on schedule. It means the bed is working. The real mistake is doing nothing about it. Every season pulls groceries out of that soil, and if nothing ever goes back in, year 3 grows noticeably less than year 1 did. So every spring, before planting, top the bed up with 1 to 2 inches of fresh compost spread across the surface. 1 to 2 inches every spring. No digging required, just lay it on top and let the worms carry it down for you. Many towns give compost away free or nearly free at the yard waste facility, so the yearly feeding can cost a few dollars in 1 trunk load. Feed the soil, and the soil feeds the plants. The old-timers said it that way for a reason. And now, buddy, the corner, the one from the thumbnail. The one I promised you at the very start. Mistake number 10. Letting wet soil sit against bare wood. Picture that corner from the thumbnail one more time. Gray boards, split and crumbling, the whole joint falling apart after just 3 summers. Beginners see that and blame the rain, so they shop for fancier lumber, or they give up on wooden beds entirely. But rain was never the real enemy. The outside of those boards gets rained on and then dries in the breeze within a few hours, the same as your fence, and your fence lasts for decades. Now think about the inside face of that board, the one you never see. Pressed against it day and night is damp soil. Wood rot needs 3 things to get going: steady moisture, a little oxygen, and fungi to do the chewing. Garden soil supplies all 3 at once, around the clock. The soil holds water against that board for days after every rain and every watering, right at the level where there is still plenty of air. And healthy soil is absolutely full of the fungi, whose entire job in nature is digesting dead wood. To them, your garden bed is not a garden. It is lunch. That is why a fence post always rots right at the ground line while the top of the post stays sound, and it is why raised bedboards fail from the inside out. So, the $6 fix. At the hardware store, pick up a small roll of thick plastic sheeting, the 6mm kind. About $6. Staple it flat against the inside walls of the bed before you fill it. Trim it just below where the soil line will sit, so it never shows. Now the soil touches plastic instead of wood, both faces of the board stay dry, and the same bed that fails in 3 to 5 years will serve you for 12 to 15. The sides only. Say it with me, the sides only, never across the bottom, or you have built the bathtub from mistake number 4 all over again. One $6 roll, 20 minutes with a staple gun, and a decade of extra life. That is the whole secret the soil was keeping from you. And that is really the spirit of this entire list, small, cheap decisions made, ones that keep paying you back for years. Now, the cheapest plants you will ever put into that bed are sitting in your kitchen tonight, and my book, The 30-Day Kitchen Scrap Garden Protocol, walks you through 31 of them, day by day, from the first glass of water on the windowsill to your first harvests. It is $17 one time, marked down from $47, and it starts paying you back the very first week. If I can do this, I promise you can. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So, quick recap, buddy. 4 feet wide, full sun, mix your soil, leave the bottom open, space by the tag, pot the mint, water deep, mulch 2 inches, feed the soil every spring, and keep that soil off the bare wood. Tell me in the comments which of these 10 mistakes you have made yourself, or the one that surprised you the most. Mine was number 7, I watered a window box half to death learning it. I read every single one. Next time, I'm going to show you the 5 kitchen scraps that will fill a brand new raised bed with growing food for under $5, including one that is almost certainly sitting in your refrigerator right now. Don't throw it away, grow it. I'll see you next time, buddy.